We're live. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and berries. Casey, wake up. Get off your phone.
I'm here. I'm here.
Get off your phone.
I didn't know he pressed it yet. There we go.
I told you I was going to do it. Look, we got a friend today.
Nice. Wait. It's like a little cozy. There we go.
Now you're going to drink your water. So today we're talking about relationships, and Casey has a relationship with an elephant puppet.
I do. My children love it whenever I play with puppets with them. So I do have a relationship with several puppets. I'm constantly sticking my hands up their
puppet.
For the little puppet. See?
It's kind of big for that little elephant.
All right.
You know, I tell people sometimes they don't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
For doing videos. I say, well, why don't you just create a character? Create a puppet character, and you can step out of the picture and do the puppet thing.
That totally is good advice.
What the heck, why not?
So my stepdaughter has been asking a ton about doing a TikTok video. So I can't say which one it is because my wife wants them to remain anonymous. So she figured out a character that she is going to play to do it on TikTok because she's only 10. So she was like, yeah, I don't know if I want you to have that. And she goes, please, I can always do a character. And she was like, okay, but you have to do it very specifically. There can't be anything identifying. It's going to have to be done at the studio in front of a white screen so that way nobody else sees anything that's going on in the background. So nobody has anything to identify you by. And she has to do things to make herself remain anonymous. I don't want to give away what it is that she wants to do, but you know.
I think that's a cool idea. I know years ago there was a platform called Blab that was really neat, and I connected with a guy. I think he was out of New York or New Jersey or something like that, and he was the sock cop. It was a sock puppet that would look like a cop. Had a cop hat and a mustache, and he was the sock cop with a
interesting
accent, and he just talked about stuff.
Interesting.
So he didn't have to show his face. He just hid behind a sock puppet.
Interesting.
And then there's a local friend of mine. His son is doing really good, and he's got a YouTube channel. I think it's called Ice Cream Social. I think that's what it is. I can't remember for sure. But he just does stick figures. So he's good technologically.
Yeah, you told me about that. Yeah, with the little stick figures.
Yeah, and I think that's something if you want to create a brand around it. I mean, look at Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse and Popeye and all these characters.
Everything, yeah.
They are their own character. So anybody that is afraid to be on video like we are now, just create your own character and be a puppet.
Yep. There you go.
So today we're talking about relationships, right?
We are. We're totally going to talk about relationships. And I also have a little bit of exciting news I'll share a little bit later too.
Yeah, we'll talk the first part, and then we'll talk about that. And because relationships, it's interesting because Casey and his wife have been talking about the power of relationships at networking events, right?
We do. We talk about it at networking events, but we talk about it at any type of group events or anything like that that's going on. We talk about what it's like to do networking and how to garner relationships to make yourself have a much stronger connection. We talk about it as far as like business goes, but we also talk about it on a personal and on a spiritual level. And my wife is writing a book. She's actually in the process of making the book at this point. And she's got a title for it. She has subject matter. She even has an outline for the book at this point. The outline still needs a little bit of fleshing out, but she's doing more on it every single day. And the name of the book is going to be called Stop Networking Now. And the whole entire book is about how going out and networking with people is kind of putting you inside a pigeonholed little sound box where all you're hearing is your own self echoing back to you in this little echo chamber. Because whenever you go networking with people, you're going out to a bunch of people who are basically in the same position as you. Now, obviously, this is different if you're a blue-collar worker. Blue-collar work, networking actually makes a ton of sense because it's kind of a little bit more old world, and the relationships actually mean a lot, right? So, because they're relationships like, oh, you refer me, I refer you. But whenever you're talking about something that is a different style of business, I will use my wife's business as an example. She does luxury brand photography. Your Authentic Reflections takes pictures of people, yes, but that is not really what we're selling. We're selling a photographic experience. And what's included in that is hair and makeup, but also she likes doing helping you. She likes to do styling. She likes to help you like know exactly what to wear, how to appear on the camera. She talks to everybody about doing this so that way they look the most themselves that they could possibly do, and that way they can express their emotions and they show up on camera as expressing those things as amazing as possible. And she's phenomenal at it. She's won awards, so she is quite good. If you're local in the Twin Cities, your Authentic Reflections, check us out. Away from the commercial now, onto the book. So basically, this Stop Networking Now with this particular business, you know, if we go out and we network with people on a regular basis, it does help us, but it's only helping us with probably, I would say, 3 to 5% of the people. It's about 3 to 5% of those people are actually interested in purchasing an experience from us. Yes, people will talk about it, but who are they going to talk about? If you're an entrepreneur and you hang out with a bunch of people that are at a networking place, and you're meeting a bunch of entrepreneurs who are also networking with a bunch of people, chances are they're marketing to the very same people that are in that room, which means that it doesn't expand your network very well. So that's why she started this whole thing about Stop Networking Now, and it's about creating genuine relationships with people and how those genuine relationships can actually expand into a more solid connection. And not only does that help us spiritually and as people, right, and socially, but it also helps us financially, because now your network is outside of your soundbox, your echo chamber, right? And this is something that we've talked about with you before, and I know that you feel similarly.
Well, this is something that I was trying to get across, and sometimes I'm ahead of the curve on a lot of stuff, but I don't even like the word networking.
Right.
Because networking is connecting circuits on a computer and linking. That's the way, I'm 67 years old, so that's the way it was when I was in an office. The guy would come in and he'd network the system. He'd hook all the computers together.
Yeah,
that was networking.
Exactly. You make the networks all to talk to each other. Yeah, you're making computers talk to another computer. Yeah, that's what I did. I was a networking.
That's what I don't like about it, because that's not what we're human. We're humans, and that's my issue with social media is when someone likes your post, all they do is go like this and move. But if you did that in real life and came up and go, "I like your shirt," and then you just left,
right?
That's rude. And then on Facebook,
it can be.
Well,
it depends. I mean, so if I am a female and I have giant bazungas and they walked up and they were like, "Oh, hey, I like your shirt," and then they walked away, that would definitely be rude. If I'm looking good though, and somebody wants to stop and say, "Hey, you're looking good," and then they turn and they walk, I'm okay with that.
That's not quite my point.
No, it's not your point. I know that.
It's that social media networking has taken the human factor out of all this stuff. And then people have brought it into a business situation, and let's go networking. Let's go out networking.
Yeah.
And it's taken the human factor out of it. And if you think about the whole business relationship, it's kind of like dating. You see somebody that might be a prospective customer, or maybe a good affiliate, or a partner, or a referral partner, or an ally, or a collaborative. You got all these things that they could possibly be. It takes time to get to know them. You can't just go to a networking event and say, hey, let's get together and do business together.
Right,
You gotta
absolutely.
you got to go to multiple events.
Yeah.
And then you build that relationship and that know, like, trust. And I added respect. You have to have respect for the person.
Oh, absolutely. You don't have
Once
respect
you
for
got
somebody,
all
they're not going to
those-
want to recommend you.
You got all those elements together. You may not even know that you want to be recommended. Maybe it's just somebody to be able to bounce ideas off of. Or
Oh, right.
so the relationship is the most important part.
It is.
And then it's the money comes pretty simple. So
Yeah.
generating and I look at it, I use a gardening analogy, which you do some gardening, so you'll relate to this.
I do.
It's pretty easy to plant the seed.
Mm-hmm.
You dig up the dirt, make sure it's not sand, because you don't want to plant your seeds in sand, right? Or on
Most of the time.
concrete. Why would you plant them on concrete?
Never on concrete, but most of the time not in sand.
And depending on what kind of plant it is, what kind of relationship you're trying to grow, do you put it in wet soil or kind of moist soil? You know, there's different things that have to happen. Are you
Right.
trying to build this relationship in the sun, or should it be done in the shade? And this all takes common sense where to plant the seed.
A little bit of know-how. Yep.
Yeah, because you like, here's a quick little story. I was connecting with a magician friend of mine, and he wanted to start doing more events, performing. So where do you want to perform? Corporate, private parties, weddings, fairs, festivals, city celebrations. There's places to plant seeds for those things. And like if you want to do weddings, someone's going to get married. They usually get married once or maybe 3 times. Usually. It's not too much. So that's like 1 gig. So do you network with the bride that's going to be buying your services? Or do you network with, and I'm using the word network because we're talking about that, but I don't like the word network. Or do you network with the wedding planner?
Right.
Because they're going to have multiple clients.
Right.
So you can create that relationship with that wedding planner. And how do you do that? You get to be known. So you stay in front of them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then they need to be trusted. They need to like you, because if it's a Trump or a Biden supporter, you're going to have a fight. So you got to get on the right side.
That is if you talk politics. There's good ways of avoiding that. I'm sure that'll be covered in the book.
If it isn't politics, religion, you can go with the agnostics or atheists versus Christians versus New Agers. If you're not in the same vibe, you're not going to have a good relationship.
Yeah.
So why even spend time getting to know you?
Yeah.
So you got to be known, like, and trusted. Is this person going to show up to my gig? Are they going to be dipping into my pocket? Are they going to be sharing the leads with me?
Mm-hmm.
And then respected. You know, is this person, you know, they're all suit and tie and in the business environment, and they're just a slob when they're out drinking tequila shots on weekends? Or, you know, do you respect that?
Yeah.
So to me, it needs to, and when that happens, so you got to plant the seed, nurture the plant, harvest the fruit.
Yeah.
So planting the seed is fairly easy. You got to plant your seeds in a fertile garden. And then the relationship is what takes all the time. And that's the most important. So when you go to these networking events, I'll call them business socials.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to touch too, this is the thing I was trying to do at Punch Bowl Social.
Yeah.
When we were going there. What happens when you go to these networking events, they end up going there, hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you for a while. What do you think of the Vikings? They don't talk about business. They talk about fun.
Right.
So I had this idea of let's go have fun. And maybe at fun, you can talk about business.
Sure.
Because a lot of business gets done on the golf course.
Yeah.
So why not go throwing darts or go to the Minnesota State Fair or go take the family on a picnic?
Yep.
And then you develop a trusted relationship. You know, because it would be weird if all of a sudden you met somebody at a networking event or a social and they're at the picnic and you notice that the guy's eyeing your 16-year-old daughter. It's kind of like, I don't know if I want to do business with you.
Right.
So you got to trust them.
That's one of the things that my wife started doing very early on. She started talking to people at these networking events and all of that, and these networking groups that they have out there.
They're everywhere.
And as soon as she started doing that, she was noticing that really it kind of wasn't doing what she wanted to do. So she started asking people, hey, so now that I've gotten to know you, is there anyone that you think I would get along with? Who should I know that I don't already know? And that was literally her question. I want to know somebody who you think I would like, that I would be friends with. And she started asking that question. And it did get some good results, but it's so funny when you ask people that question. It's really comical how many of those people completely misunderstood the question. And they go back to thinking business.
Well, because when people go, they usually people are very surfacey. So they go to an event, a business social thing. They got their hand of cards. They got a stack of cards with them, and they walk. Hi, how are you? What do you do?
Right.
Who cares?
Well, I go to places like this, and I meet people like you.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, what do you do for work? I don't like it. It's a 4-letter word. I don't like the word work. No, what do you do for an occupation? I'm occupied right now. I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a big advocate. No, I get sarcastic and stuff. Because for me, when I was doing my, we'll call it networking.
Yeah.
And I was doing magic full time.
Yeah.
I wanted to meet people that were planning events.
Right.
So where did I go? I went to Meeting Professionals International. They're all the corporate event planners from Medtronic, Target, Cargill, 3M, General Mills, Pillsbury. They're the certified meeting professional that does all their meetings.
Yeah.
And those meetings sometimes end up being awards banquets or holiday parties or company picnics or product launches or retirement parties or client appreciations or open houses. So that one meeting planner could do all sorts of, probably hundreds of events within a big company like 3M. So I would go to these events and meet those people. Then when I decided to move from the corporate and I wanted to start doing other things like fairs and festivals, there's an organization called the Minnesota Festivals and Events Association, MINFIA. So these are the people that do Taste in Minnesota, Grand Old Days, Twin Fridley 49ers, all the city celebrations, Shakopee Derby Days, and all those kind of the marathons.
Right.
So you know where to find those people.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to work county fairs, that's a different kind of fair. There's the Federation of County Fairs, Minnesota Federation of County Fairs.
Sure.
So this is Anoka County, all the county fairs. So now you're talking to the right people. That's who you schmooze with, rather than going to a horizontal marketplace of a networking event where you find an acupuncturist and a dentist and a chiropractor and a real estate agent and a financial planner and a zoologist and a coach.
It makes sense if you sell insurance. Not if you sell other things.
Well,
it depends on it. It
kind
really
of does,
depends
because
on what you do.
It also depends on what your intention is when you go there. Like you said, your wife asked a very good question, because it's totally like, it doesn't matter what I do.
Who should I know, and who do you think wants to know me?
Yeah.
Who do you think wants to know somebody like me, and who do you think I should know? And those were questions, and she was very adamant about it, that she was like, I don't care if they're a client. I don't care if they make me money. That is not what I'm interested in. She said, I am interested in making a genuine connection. Right. I want to meet people. I want to know people who want to know me.
Authentic.
Exactly. And it's awesome. She gets really good responses from that now. To begin with, she didn't, though. She actually had to, and this is the reason why she's writing a book on it. She had to train other people how to make friends, because pandemic and all the other stuff that's happened to us and the internet and all this stuff, people are out of practice. They don't know how to make friends anymore. They don't know how to go up to people and randomly shake people's hands. My wife, whenever she was young, I'll make the long story of her youth really short. Basically, she was raised in a cult, and that's really the best way to explain it. She was raised in a cult, and it was kind of a family cult, but it was a cult. And she actually indirectly connected to like Duggars and things like that. And anybody who wants to look up cults or knows about cults, you can look up the Duggars, and you would quickly know. They're the ones who did like So Many Kids and Counting, the show, and they all got in trouble because of crazy stuff. But anyways,
I don't got much.
You can look that one up. Anyhow, so So yeah, so she didn't really get to meet very many people whenever she was young because she was very isolated and her family had some very strange views that they wanted to push on people. So what she started doing is she decided she was going to be pen pals with people. And this is before the internet, whenever she started doing this, right? She was just a young girl and she was like, I don't know, like 6, 7. She'd go out meeting people and she'd be like, oh, what's your address? She'd meet people that she'd like to know one time. And she'd be like, what's your address? I'd love to write you. Do you know anybody else that I could meet? So she ended up with pen pals all over the world by the time that she was a teenager. Then the internet came out. And then, of course, she started using that too in order to gain more pen pals. So she ended up having pen pals that are literally, she has like good relationships with the people and continues to talk to them today. She's 40 now and she continues to talk to these people today. And it's all because she is what you would modernly call a powerhouse of a connector. Like she is a connector. That's what she does. She connects people and she connects to people. And it's amazing. But most people don't know how to do that anymore. She had to learn it because of her environment.
Sure.
Most of us don't know how to do that, especially if you go millennials and younger, right? Because there was the internet and they connect to each other through school, which is arranged for you. They connect to each other on the internet, which is kind of phony. I mean, let's just be frank. Most of internet connections are pretty phony.
Or surfacey, we'll call it.
Surfacey. They are, but a lot of times they're also very phony. Like, I mean, these people can pretend to be anything that they are.
There's a thing that's,
there's
a thing happening right now on Facebook where somebody must have created some software because a lot of my magician friends, it's doing their name with their last name twice. And I'm getting a lot of these friend requests with their name and then their last name twice. So somebody must be in there with some kind of software that's doing friend requests and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of fake profiles coming out and things like that. I mean, the fake profiles are, I'm less worried about that than I am just about how empty most of the conversation is. And then if you have a conversation online, people feel that it's okay to be way more rude to you than they would be in any other circumstance.
Right. They usually wouldn't say that to your face.
No, they wouldn't. And if you do say that to people's face, well, I have to imagine that, while it might not be true with the millennials and younger, that they're going to get punched in the face as quickly. I know if you're Gen X and older, somebody's going to knock you on your ass. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, there's circumstances.
There are circumstances.
There is freedom of speech, but there's also circumstances.
Right. There's consequences to actions. And it's funny because, all these online surfacey connections and all these very surfacey connections that you get whenever you go out networking.
Did I say circumstances?
Circumstances.
I meant what did I mean? I didn't
consequences.
I meant consequences.
You meant consequences. I knew what you meant.
I didn't mean circumstances.
I knew what he meant. Hey, look, we have 3 viewers.
Yay.
Thumbs up to everybody there. So, if you're just joining, we're talking about relationships and business and networking and about my wife talking about her concept of stop networking now on a regular basis in the book that she's writing. But yeah, so it's fascinating though how little people actually understand how to truly connect with one another anymore. So she's actually had to go out of her way to help train people without telling them that she's doing that because it feels insulting. So she does it without telling people like, oh, hey, I'm training you on how to connect here. Instead, she does it very subtly to help people learn to connect better so they can connect her better to other people because she genuinely just wants connection. She just wants to connect with people, wants to know people. She's like, the money will come. I just want to know people. She's like, I'm not worried about whether they're clients or not. They'll know somebody who will know somebody who will know somebody. I just want people who will like me, who want to be my friend.
Another tip for all that would be to ask those, my friend Ron Eccles used to call it Emerson's 6 friends. Who, what, where, when, how, and why. And if you put those words in front of any sentence, you draw information out of people rather than telling them something.
Yeah.
Like you said, she says, who do you know that might like to connect with me?
Who do you know who would like to connect with me?
And then you might ask,
What do you think? Yeah, what kind of events do you think that I would enjoy going to?
Yeah.
It's never what kind of events do I need to go to drum up business, because that is a question that I think a lot of people ask, and you get the wrong results, because then you end up going to other networking events where it's all a bunch of entrepreneurs who are currently not really making a lot of money.
So like as an example, you're invited to, and I think Elizabeth came last year, is that cruise. We do that Accelerated Global Connections cruise on the St. Croix River. That originally was an event planner cruise that I did with Dan Jarvis over at the Afton Inn.
Yeah.
And then I introduced him to Travis with the Accelerated Global Connections group. We're doing that again. And the way I promote it differently than most people.
Yeah.
Most people just invite people. I invite people in the event planning world.
Yeah.
Because I know that Dan Jarvis wants to meet the event planners to use his boat.
Yep.
And to rent his facility.
Yeah.
At the Afton Inn. So we've got a promo code that's specific for people that are in the event industry. So when they buy a ticket, then Dan knows that maybe he should talk with that person because they're different.
Right. We should really think about doing a cruise that is kind of centered around woo-woo stuff. We should totally talk about doing that, because I'm finding that people who are very interested in talking about, spiritual stuff and about, like self-development and things like that, they're very interested
local one here?
Oh yeah, we should totally do
and
a
maybe
local
even
one
cast a wider net into the 5-state area or something.
Yeah.
See if people want to come in.
Yeah, do a
That's
little
an interesting thing to talk about.
riverboat cruise.
There is the Abraham Hicks one that they do. The Esther Hicks does a cruise.
Yeah.
A big one. I'm talking about just a Mississippi River thing.
But you're talking about ones just for, they do a big cruise, but they do, that's for like psychics or something, right?
No, it's the whole law of attraction stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, not just psychics.
Cool. Well,
Oh, you flipped your lid.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the Esther Hicks cruise, but yeah, that's why I was asking. So I thought it was just for psychics, because Esther Hicks is a psychic, right?
A channeler.
Yep, that's right. Yeah,
the bug.
It's interesting. I have I know a couple of people who've chatted with her. Yeah. One
from the other
end. That's funny. Probably, but yeah, I have a friend who it was after his partner passed away. He had always been experiencing stuff with like spirits and stuff, but after his partner passed away, he started having spirits like show up and like follow him home, and they wouldn't leave him alone, and they'd bother him, and he was like having like full on psychic experiences with these ghosts, and he was like, leave me alone, and it just scared the crap out of him. So finally he got hold of it was a few different people, but finally it was Esther Hicks, and he talked to Esther Hicks, and Esther Hicks was like, if it makes you uncomfortable, you can just tell him to go into the light and leave you alone. So it was an interesting story behind that, but
yeah, that kind of segues us into the other stuff that we're going to talk about. We kind of work our way into that because we're going to talk about relationships in a different way. Weren't we going to talk about that?
I think so. What was,
because I know we want to talk about your business and the things that you're building out, because you've got a new relationship that you've been nurturing for a year.
Yep.
For a year, and now it's starting to manifest. So some people that go to these networking events goes, here's my card. If you ever want to sell a house, call me. It takes time.
It does. It takes a lot of time. And it's not just, you can't just have a relationship with somebody because you want money from them. You're investing in the relationship because you want to know them personally.
Yeah, because
it doesn't matter if you ever get money from them.
The money's not going to come from them. It's going to come from somebody else.
Yeah. It's going to come from something extended in that situation. It's
Yeah.
either going to come from a circumstance that doesn't exist yet, or it's going to come from, you know, a friend that they know, or maybe they're going to invite you out horseback riding and you're going to end up meeting this really cool horse whisperer who's going to be like, oh, you need to come take pictures of my horses. And the guy has 40 horses,
And
you know, something like that.
And it might not even come in the form of money. Like
might,
your wife
yeah.
is good at manifesting stuff. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 djembe drums that she manifested. Yes.
But then there's
she decided she wanted to do a drum circle here at Your Authentic Reflections, and she wanted to have more interesting ways of people to connect in our space. And a lady who she had at a previous event that was about creating genuine connection decided that she wanted to donate her djembe drums to us. So I have a bunch of djembe drums that are here for her to do that with, or
so,
djembe, if you
so
want.
that didn't come in the form of money.
No, not at all. And there's actually a significant amount of that happens in our lives.
So now we can segue into the other type of relationship.
Yeah.
That, because a relationship with your higher power, if you will, or the universe, or God, or energy, and all that stuff. Because you got to have an alignment with all that stuff too. You know, your intention needs to be pure and all that, and it needs to be clear.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because a lot of people think that pure intention means that somehow you don't have anything hidden in your heart that impurifies it or something like that. Purity of intention could just mean that, you know, you're completely focused on that intention for a period of time.
And purity might be more clarity. It's pure so you can see it.
Right.
It's more pure or authentic, might be a similar word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we had an intention, we're going for a road trip.
Yeah.
That's pure.
Sure.
Where? It's hard to get in the car and head out when you don't know which direction you're going.
I've done that before.
So you got to get clear on where. Well, yeah, you can start just driving, but then eventually you go, "Hey, I need to go somewhere because the gas is at E."
Right.
I now have a pure intention of going to that gas station.
Yep. Yeah. When I was a young man,
You're still a young man.
best friend in the whole world. He used to go on random drives with me. So we would just be like, hey, let's go on a drive. And we were like, sure. And then he would like, it would be one or the other of us. We would literally just go like, oh, where are we going today? I don't know. Let's just drive this way. We would just pick a spot and we'd start driving until we literally ended up in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, you can't do that as much now because gas prices are expensive. But it was easy to do back then. And he had a diesel, so gas prices were still expensive for him. They were pricey, but it was a lot of fun though. We did quite a lot of driving and a lot of sightseeing and things like that. And sometimes we'd be driving, and it's spiritual experiences happen when you do that. And you have no destination in mind, and you're just like, I just want to go. We ended up driving on PCH headed north, and I've never seen this before. We were heading towards Oxnard, and we were heading north on it, and we were along the cliffs, and you can kind of see the cliffs, and you can kind of see where the drop-offs were, and then all of a sudden, it was a new moon. So there was no moon in the sky, and all of a sudden the lights dropped off, everything dropped off, and it was so dark. As the lights were hitting the road in front of you, the world appeared. And as the lights were disappearing behind you, the world went away. And it felt like we were literally creating the universe as we were driving. And the world was just appearing before us and disappearing behind us. And the intense experience of that was just amazing. And we didn't speak for 2 hours. And yet it was probably one of the more memorable drives I've ever had with him.
And was this drug induced?
No, no, not at all. No, it was just intense presence. We were just there. We were being honestly us, authentically us.
You're in the zone.
And we were just existing with one another in space and sharing space that entire time. And you know, occasionally we would roll down windows. I smoked at the time, so we'd roll down windows so I could have a cigarette. And then, of course, as we'd end up towards areas where it was dry, we had a little ashtray in the car, and it was a little removable ashtray. So we'd put out the cigarettes inside, so we could, you know, wouldn't start fires and stuff. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of the experience we had. But it was, oh my gosh, it's so magical whenever you can have that relationship with somebody where you can do something like that. Just say, yeah, I kind of just want to just be. Let's drive that direction. And then you literally just be with them for that entire time.
Sure. You just head a direction. You don't care where it is, and you're both in agreement that it doesn't matter what direction you're going.
Right.
You just go.
It's about just being with the other person and just enjoying the world around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like sometimes we ended up at the beach. Sometimes we ended up at a coffee shop. Sometimes we would just drive for hours, and but we would do that regularly. We'd be like, hey, let's go somewhere. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Let's get in the car and just drive.
I like road trips. I've never experienced that, like over in Europe or something, where you're crossing borders and stuff. But wouldn't that be weird if the United States weren't united and you had to like go through border crossings in every state and all that?
It wouldn't have mattered because I was in California. It took hours to get past anywhere, and I didn't.
Going up there.
We didn't drive. You know,
how far did you go?
5, 6 hours.
Did you go to Oregon, or you just stay in California?
We stayed in California. I did take longer trips with him sometimes, but those were all planned. Like the longer trips were always planned because, you know, it requires a little bit more. But we went up to the redwoods and Big Basin redwoods. Yeah, loved hanging out with the trees there. It's pretty magical. If people here have never been to the redwoods, I highly recommend going there once in your life. It's pretty amazing. It's like a lot of people say the rainforest is amazing. Well, this is similar.
You mean with the big trees?
Yep. Oh yeah, these were, yeah, Big Basin redwoods are the fat ones.
Yeah. You drive a car through it?
Some of them you could, yeah. They're awesome. Like I've never seen a more gorgeous area in all of my travels. The most beautiful area that I have seen, and I've been lots of places throughout the world, and one of the most beautiful sights I've seen is driving through the redwoods up north, and it really is like interfacing with God, and the moss that's growing.
Interfacing?
Interfacing, yeah. It's like interfacing.
Is that like networking with God?
Well, I was a network engineer. I'm going to use computer lingo sometimes.
Interfacing, yes.
It is like having it's like meeting God and getting to have a conversation with God. It really is. It is just the spiritual experience of it is just, it's intense. And I loved every minute of it. It was such a beautiful experience to have. And there's lots of other areas I've been that are just absolutely beautiful and stunning. But it's rare that I have that experience where I go and I'm just like, wow, it's like I am here so I can talk to God. Like it's
in the zone.
Just amazing when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like whenever you were in Bali and
when I disappeared,
all of a sudden you just disappeared for a while. You were just in the right place at the right time and you had an experience.
Yeah, that's probably we're in a vortex or something.
Yep.
So let's talk about your new relationship.
Yeah. So I'm actually pretty excited. I am going to begin repping for a company called Amaru, and I got the go-ahead finally. I've been talking about it with a few people I know for a while. What makes this company special is goes along with my MicroShift business. What makes this relationship very special is the product that they create. It's a unique product. Uh, it it's not unique in what it is insofar as it is a CBD product. It's how it's made. So most of the time, whenever they make CBD, there's a couple of different things you can do to extract CBD. Most of the time, you're using an alcohol tincture or it's oil based, right? And they pull it out with different oils, different things like that, in order to get a CBD oil, and then you're taking it. This isn't that. It is actually a water-based extraction process, which is proprietary to the company. And what they do whenever they extract it is it gets all of the constituents. So we're talking about the what's it called, limonene, and all of the different types of terpenes that are inside of it as well, which terpenes normally get destroyed by extraction processes. But this doesn't destroy anything. It gets out 100% of the constituents, and it's done in such a way to where it becomes absorbable through the mucosal membrane. So you put the drops in your mouth, and it's like, those vitamin B12s from back in the day, whenever you'd put the drops under your tongue, and then you'd hold it under your tongue for 30 seconds and it absorb. Yeah, that is exactly what this is. So you put the CBD, a few drops in your mouth, and it's just a few drops. Right now, most of the companies are like, yeah, a whole dropper full. That is not the case with this. Super high grade. You only use a few drops. It absorbs right through the mucosal membrane. It bypasses the gut. And the important thing about that is that your gut can actually convert a lot of the constituents that you're taking it. And it converts some of it to THC. So even if you're taking something that is THC free, if it has CBDA in it, you are converting some of that into THC. It's just what happens. It's the science of it. This bypasses all of that because it absorbs right in through that mucosal membrane, goes right into your bloodstream, and it goes right where it needs to go immediately. It starts affecting your neurological system right away. And it's not affecting it with the THC. It's affecting it with the anti-inflammatories. It's affecting it with the relaxation that gets happen with the CBD. So it's all the CBD, CBG, and all the rest of the terpenes and everything like that right into your system. It's amazing. And they make other products too. So there's one that's inside like a spray, so you can carry it around like almost like a Banaka. So that way you can utilize it discreetly throughout your day. You can just carry it around inside your pocket or a purse, and you pull it out. And it's 2 sprays on the inside of each cheek. Absorbs right away. You can feel it if you are sensitive enough. Like, not everybody can feel CBD, but if you are sensitive enough and your cannabinoid system is already activated, you can feel it within, I would say, 2 to 10 seconds, right in there. Usually it takes me about 5 seconds to feel it. It's quite amazing. They sell it in a dropper tincture, which is stronger, and that one you do under your tongue. That one I can feel within 30 seconds. It's micronized, which helps the absorption. They have another product which is mushroom extracts. So they do a whole bunch of different compounds that are out there. If anybody's familiar with the famous Stamets 7 stack that's out there.
The what?
It's called Stamets 7.
Oh.
It's a product that Paul Stamets started making because of the research showing that all these different mushroom compounds work together to improve people's immune systems. Well, a lot of times the way he does it is in a powder. The extract that he has is alcohol-based. This is the same extract product, so it uses the same formula overall. The difference is this uses that proprietary extract, that proprietary water extract method. So all of the constituents that are in it, everything that can be extracted is extracted out of it. It's put into a spray form, and then you can spray it in the mouth. And it actually creates a film on the inside of the mouth after you use it over a period of time. It's very strong. It increases your immune system. The science on it shows that it increases your immune system by up to 300%.
So I got a question.
Yep.
So is that the big difference between like alcohol-based and water-based? Is that the two things?
No, the water-based part of the system, yeah. So the alcohol-based, the reason why you can't have it, and for the FDA decides that they don't have any medications that are alcohol-based, because not everybody can have alcohol. Some people are allergic to it. Some people are alcoholics. Some people, whatever it is, right?
That's what I was wondering.
So you can't have it as alcohol-based in order and call it medication. Also, alcohol doesn't extract all the constituents. It only extracts some of it. Part of the reason why alcohol works is alcohol actually dissolves some of the resins, right? And then the resins suspend in the alcohol. So it's actually a suspension, not an extraction. You see what I mean?
No.
So a suspension is whenever there's
relevant.
Yeah. It's true. It's not relevant if you don't need to know. You don't need to know.
The reason I brought it up was because, like, what you're talking about is this CBD that's a drug. Why are they taking it? Are they recreational taking this so they can feel it, and are they feeling high, or are they doing it for some kind of healing experience or maybe a spiritual awakening experience?
That's a really good question. It is a healing item. This is a medicine. It is medicinal quality. The whole thing is medicinal quality. This is the very first product that can, once everything is finalized with certain legalization efforts that are out there on the federal level, once things actually get finalized, this is one of the first products that's actually going to be able to be FDA approved as a medicine.
So if someone has an addiction issue that they want to get rid of, it wouldn't be good to take something that's alcohol-based because they might pull them back into alcohol addiction.
If you have an alcohol addiction, and especially if you're genetically addicted to alcohol, I mean, that's the minority of alcohol addiction that's out there. But if you're addicted to alcohol at all, I would say don't take an alcohol-based. Yeah, but so if you are genetically addicted, even a couple of drops can set all that off.
Yeah, so that's why it's good that it's water-based. You don't have to worry about that.
Right. It's also absorption, because our bodies are water. They're not oil. Oil and water don't mix. Mm-hmm. So our bodies are not oil. Our bodies can break down oil and turn it into energy in our body. So we do break down some of that, but now it's gone through the digestion.
Like a combustion engine?
Like a combustion engine. Yes, that's exactly how our gut works. Our gut breaks everything down into the calories and everything else, and then it feeds the energy into the rest of our body. And that's basically what's happening with CBD currently that's an oil-based, because our bodies are not oil-based. Water-based is how most medications are right now. They're micronized and they're water-based. And that is exactly what this is. It's micronized and it's water-based.
I have a controversial topic.
Yeah.
We're going to start it to be controversial. So, like, what percent, you see all these CBD places.
Yeah.
And then there's this medical marijuana thing. What percentage of people in general that are taking this stuff do you think have a sincere, authentic, and genuine need for medicinal marijuana versus the other ones that are going, it's a prescription, my doctor said I needed it, dude, you need to get high. They're just going to get high.
Personally, I don't care whether somebody wants to do that or not. There's no skin off my back. But I will say, I mean, and I do stuff in this industry and have for a very long time. So I would tell you that my experience has been that the majority of people who are given it medically don't really need it medically.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, the majority. I can't give you a percentage because it's just really difficult.
Let's figure it out though. We're just kind of
It does help with things like glaucoma. It does help with paranoia. It does help with with nervous disorders, like anxiety and OCD and things like that. It does help with depression. It does help with all these things.
Well, let me
but
ask
it
you.
also can exacerbate and make some of those things worse. So,
I was just going to say that. So what if someone is, yeah, I don't want to get glaucoma, so I got to smoke marijuana. And really their pure intention is to get high. It's got nothing to do with glaucoma. It's just get the prescription.
You only get the prescription if you have glaucoma.
I know, but you could
You can't
fake
get it to
it.
prevent glaucoma.
You can fake it.
Well, glaucoma,
And then
they
that
have to
can be-
actually...
That can be your excuse.
If you have glaucoma, you have glaucoma. It's something that they visibly see, like whenever they're checking on it. That's why they check your eyes the way they do.
Okay, but then
it's a
there's
visual thing. They can
okay,
see
but then
it.
there's this other thing of being spiritually healed, where okay, you got glaucoma, and then you said a pure intention. You talk with God that my glaucoma is gone and it's healed, and now it disappears because you believe that it was. It has nothing to do with the THC or the ayahuasca or all that stuff, because I went in with pure intention and I got healed through spirit.
I don't know. There's stories of people being healed and stuff. I mean, that's possible. But in regards to cannabis and glaucoma, cannabis prevents the glaucoma from spreading. That's really what it is. And it's, or I shouldn't say spreading, from progressing. And that's really the reason why they use it for glaucoma. It's the same thing. It's like using it for pain. It masks the pain. But you're really using it like you would any other medication that's out there. It's not in the same category. Cannabis is not in the same category to me as mycelium. So mushrooms are in a completely different category. Mushrooms can cure you. And I know I'm going to get in trouble with the FDA if I say anything like that. But mushrooms can cure you. Ayahuasca can cure you of something. Like, I've seen it. I've witnessed people go, I have depression. And it's treatment-resistant, hardcore depression. They go have an ayahuasca trip, or they have a mushroom trip, and then they're fine afterwards. And they're like, I have more freedom now than I ever have in my entire life. People with OCD, one time with mushrooms, cured. OCD's gone.
Do you have any idea why that works?
Yes, I do. The neurologically, it has to do with the fact that all of your neurons begin to fire at the same time, and they're all talking to each other, and the communication spreads throughout.
Right.
And as that's happening, there's a lot of noise that's going on. It gets overwhelming. It can. It doesn't happen with everybody. Not everybody experiences it the same way, but that's actually what's happening. Your brain starts to get tired.
I believe that.
And then what happens during that process is your brain kind of reboots. It goes like, ooh, that noise is so loud. Now, so this is what happened with people with ghost pains, people who have depression, people who have anxiety, people who have all these types of things that are going on with them, is there is a signal that is always going on inside their brain, right? You either are picking up on a very low signal and your threshold isn't high enough, or you're picking up on a signal that's too high, because there's constant misfirings going on in your brain. Everybody thinks that only people who have something wrong with their brain have misfirings. That is not the case. Every brain has misfirings. It's just a question as to when your brain pays attention to the communication that's happening, because there's always firing going off in your brain.
Right.
So your brain doesn't always pay attention to every single neurological firing that happens inside your brain. This resets it, takes you out of the rut. It takes you out of those same pathways that you keep taking over and over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it shifts it into a different line of thinking.
Michael shifts it.
Michael shifts it. Exactly. And that is exactly why, to quote my friend Josh, who has a really amazing podcast called Super States. It's a super state. You go into this super state. It's a super state of mind. And you become much more capable and much more powerful in and of yourself to help yourself in various different ways. Paul Stamets has a story about curing himself of stuttering and social anxiety. I helped myself go through a lot of grief and pain and deal with anger issues and feeling inadequacies and just angry at the world for how dare it make me have to put up with the crap that I had to do whenever I was a kid. And people treat me that way. And, you know, there's a lot of anger there. It's helped me deal with that. So it helps a lot of people in all those ways. And that is another product, actually, going back to this, that's another product that Amaru is offering. There is a product that they offer that's just called Mushroom. That is the product. That's what it's called. And it's made out of a truffle that contains a very low amount of psilocybin in it. So they use it by extracting those mushrooms and a few other things. They extract that mushroom, and now it's a portable microdose. And it's legal. And the reason why it's legal is because it's not the mushroom itself that's illegal. It's the production of psilocybin, which is specifically talked about in law. So like you basically, they talk about, you know, like if it's in a mushroom. So if the mushroom is there, that is considered to be growing psilocybin mushrooms, and therefore it is illegal. But mushroom is defined very specifically. A truffle never breaks the surface, therefore it's not a mushroom. It's defined completely differently, and they have no language to talk about it. So the fact that they use these truffles and they do it at a very, you know, it's at a very low level and everything else makes it illegal. They can carry it. It is something that is capable. Now, a lot of stores don't want to touch it because it's kind of technically in a gray area. But if you want it personally, if you want to get a hold of that and you don't want to risk any type of illegal activity or anything else, hit me up. I'm telling you, I am happy. I am happy to hook you up with this company. This is Amaru I'm talking about. And this company is amazing. I'm going to have a discount code next week, maybe the week after. And I'm going to be able to start handing that out to people and hooking them up directly with this company. And they're not going to have a normal, easily findable link. So for a while, and I think that is good because it allows all the people who are helping them promote and helping them build be able to get in on the ground floor.
Keep it within the network.
Right. Keep it within the network. And that's actually good in this case because, you know, the promoters that are out there for this are really doing a smash job on it because it's really difficult for a new product in a saturated CBD market or a saturated market to break through. But like I said, there's unique things that they do. There's Blue Lotus. Anybody who's familiar with Blue Lotus? Blue Lotus is it has nuciferine in it. Nuciferine. Monks use this Blue Lotus and they make teas out of it and they smoke it and they do things like that. And the whole reason why Buddhist monks do that is because it helps them with meditation, transcendental meditation, and other forms of meditation. It's very heart opening. It also is a great relaxant. It helps you sleep and it doesn't make you have a high like people are like, you know, used to with something that's like smoking cannabis. It's not going to make you have any head change. It's just going to make you relaxed. It's going to make it easier for you to move into certain meditative spaces. For the ladies out there, it works as an aphrodisiac. For guys out there, it doesn't necessarily in the lower doses work as an aphrodisiac, but in higher doses, some men report that it acts like a more mild form of something like Viagra. So there is definitely health benefits of all of these things. You know, I already mentioned the mushroom compound formula that's built similar to Stamets 7. They're going to start offering organic coffee. I mean, this place they're really trying to look for traditionally used medicines in these areas of the world where they still practice it in traditional ways, and they're trying to bring some of that stuff forward, and it's really amazing, including ceremony grade cacao. They're going to be bringing in ceremony grade cacao, and that's pretty awesome.
You think some of this stuff is opening up like this because we, the people, are sick and tired of big pharma controlling everything?
I think that's a big part of it, but I think that the biggest reason why a lot of this is beginning to come forward is that we, the people, have begun to awaken to a spiritual world that always existed and has always been here, and some of us have always witnessed. Yet
that's something I was going to bring up when you were talking about the technical stuff that I didn't quite understand. But the way that this stuff works, it's in nature, so it works like with you talked about I can never remember the technical terms for all these things. So you got the mushrooms, and then you got what other kind of the mushroom? What are some of the other?
You're talking about the mushroom that grows above, or then the one that grows below?
Yeah, and then there's something else.
Yeah, so the truffle.
Yeah, the truffle. There's all these things. The way that nature does it, it does it that way. And you're talking about the legality of it because of the way it's done that way. That is the way that nature does it is a constant. But
the way that nature does it is a constant,
can be adjusted.
Right.
And that's what we have a concern about. All of a sudden, they all make it illegal because it's doing this. So they changed the law. They didn't change the way that nature intended it to be.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it's
so get it while it's hot before the.
It's kind of crazy the way that law honestly works in our society modernly. The whole entire reason why our government was set up the way it was is so the government was slow. And we want them to be quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. And unfortunately, we basically gave them a button so they can press a button and blow up the whole world. And this is not figuratively, it's real. There really is. It's the nuke is called, it's called the football. It's a little tiny suitcase they carry around with them. And basically they have special codes they can push in, and they go boom and blow up the whole entire world. Why in the hell did we take a system of government that was designed to be slow so that way the people had the most amount of freedom, and then we've tolerated this beast it's become make it move as quick as possible, which is only designed to put its knee on our neck. That is the only thing it is.
That's a whole nother program.
It is. It's a whole nother program.
How far are we into this? It's 6 o'clock.
Let's go back to Amaru for 1 second.
Yeah, let's finish with that.
You asked a couple of really relevant questions, and one of it is the legality of it. Because the Amaru products, the CBD products, do not contain THC, it is an international product. So if you are watching the show, if you are familiar with me or MycoShip, you can get it. So just reach out. It's totally fine. I can do it. Also, I would find it's ill-advised not to point out that any of those other products, they're all except for just the one, like I said, the one that's just called mushroom. Yeah. So that particular product, I have to be a little bit more careful about, just by making sure that it's that you're good with it. So currently, I think we're only offering that in the US. I have to double check on that. But the rest of the products, I can even ship them internationally. If you're in Canada, Mexico, it doesn't matter. We can ship it to you. If you're anywhere in the United States, we can ship it to you. And I can just send you a link. You can buy it yourself. Subscribers get discount. I believe the discount is 10%. I have to double check what that is. And the prices on the products seem a little bit higher than what you would get inside the stores. And I say seem because this is effective in drops and sprays. It's literally the size of a Banaka bottle. And not only is it going to give you fresher breath, but on top of that, you are going to be giving yourself your dose of CBD, which helps people with anxiety. It helps people who are under a lot of stress be able to actually put that stress at bay and calm down. It makes them more effective at work because you're less stressed. There's a lot of different reasons to do it. And, you know, there are several different products that are out there and more that's going to be added. So this revolutionary new product that literally has no competition out there is amazing, and it's going to help a lot of people. And I really hope that anybody who sees this that has a need for CBD or a need for those types of products that might be interested in them, I'm happy to talk to you about it, get you the link, get you all the information on it, hook up for my free 15-minute consultation, and I can hook you up directly with how to order this Amaru products. And that settles the last bit of the relationship episode.
That was a lot to take in.
It is, yeah, and I'm sorry if it sounded a bit like a sales pitch there at the end. It's more along the lines of I'm excited because of the technology of that is behind this particular product. I've been waiting for it to become truly medical grade for a while, and this is the first foray into that. People who truly need it for medical reasons, and not only that, since it bypasses the gut, it's safe for kids. That's something that the others did, that all the other products that are out there, even if they try and claim it, it's not exactly always the case because it converts inside the gut and you don't know what the THC is doing to a kid's brain because nobody necessarily wants to, they don't necessarily want to test that. You don't want to make your kid the test subject, right?
No.
And not unless there's something seriously wrong with your kid, like, you know, they have, you know, constant, you know, seizures or something. That's about the only reason why you might be like, okay, we're going to try this, you know, and everybody else is like, no. Well, this completely bypasses the gut, and it does it for all of the products. Every single one of the products is micronized. All of the sprays, not only are they micronized, but the spray is also micronized. So when it spritzes, these particles are in fine, 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 fine mist. It absorbs straight through the mucosal membrane. It does not feel like you have anything left to be able to take out of it. And if anybody out there has ever eaten fresh bud, like you've taken a piece of fresh bud and you've chewed it up and you've eaten it, this tastes exactly like that. Exactly. Which you know means that all the constituents are in it. There's no other product I've ever tasted where I'm like, oh my God, that tastes like literally fresh off the plant before it's dried or cured or anything. It tastes fresh off the plant. I'm going to eat it.
He's excited.
I am very excited about this.
Okay, should I turn it off?
We can turn it off. Should we turn it off, guys? Are you done asking your questions and hearing us? Our one viewer who's still on there.
One?
We do. We have one viewer still on there.
Looks good. Oh, there's two now.
Oh yeah, now we got a thumbs up. Nope, that's the eye is where it is. The blue circle, that's a thumbs up.
I wonder who it is.
I don't know.
But I'm doing this on my actual Facebook profile page instead of a regular page because the software screwed up and it changed.
Okay.
So I just went to.
You think it's maybe it's going to work better for us doing it this way?
Well, as long as I don't get my Facebook account shut down, but I kind of don't care because social media isn't social.
All right. Peace out.
I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head. Dun, 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 dun.